You might remember in the news not too long ago reports that a Democratic campaign office in Arizona had been targeted with gunfire, and that had in fact happened multiple times, which in these dark times where political violence seems to have been so normalized is very scary. Well, good news, I guess. They've got the guy, Jeffrey Michael Kelly, who you can see in this shot, a shot that is probably not going to convince a lot of people that he in fact is innocent. But anyway, he's now being accused of terrorism. He's being charged with terrorism. He's facing 3 counts of committing an act of terrorism, 2 counts of discharging a firearm at a non-residence, 2 counts of discharging a firearm in city limits, and 3 counts of criminal damage. Now, all of this sounds bad. All of this is bad. It's gonna get way worse, and it could have gotten even worse. Thankfully, they caught him. So basically, this is how things escalated. On September 16th, there was the first shooting. That was the office struck 13 times by BB gun pellets, shattering the glass's front door. Okay, it's a BB gun, worrisome for what it signifies, not the scariest thing in the world. 1 week later, it was struck by gunfire. And again on October 6th. So now they're using a real gun and things are getting scarier. Well, after that, the Arizona Democratic Party closed the office, which is not like, oh, good, now we don't have to worry. The fact that a party would have to close down offices literally as a result of terrorist threats is not what's supposed to be happening in America. And very weird, by the way, that nationally there was not nearly more talk about this story. Like, I understand people are concerned about Donald Trump being targeted, but people are shooting at a Democratic building and nobody really seemed to care. Well, they caught him and they investigated him, and here's what he had. He had more than 120 guns, which is at least 20 guns more than the average American, I think I can confidently say. He had 250,000 rounds of ammunition and a grenade launcher, which is, I guess, a thing that you can buy. Some of the firearms were machine guns, according to a lawyer for the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. And they added that the authorities believed he was preparing to commit an act of mass casualty. Well, he had 250,000 bullets. So yes, I think he had some bigger plans. Now, thankfully, he didn't use a bunch of that. Nobody actually died. We don't know what would have happened if he hadn't been caught. We don't know if he was alone. Maybe he wanted to do something bigger, but he's such a weirdo, he couldn't get other people to sign on. Maybe he was biding his time and waiting to get closer to the election. We don't know. We do know that his bond has been set at $500,000. I will say, I don't think he should be released, the guy with 250,000 bullets. But anyway, again, thankfully they caught him, but really worrisome. Like, Trey, when we talk about, the fear that if Trump loses, or even if he wins, there could be like lone wolf attacks on Democratic buildings or candidates or places where they count the vote.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
This is the sort of thing that I think buttresses those fears. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it is scary. And it's the type of thing that, like, sometimes I'm kind of surprised it hasn't happened more. I mean, I've got a friend who's like a progressive journalist and blogger in Middle Tennessee. He holds the lunatic Tennessee Republicans to task a lot. He's got a pretty good little following. His page and his accounts is called the Tennessee Holler, which I recommend everybody check out.
100%. I know the Tennessee Holler.
Yeah, well, he's a buddy of mine, and he posted this publicly back when it happened. So this is public information. It was a long time ago, but he lives there in Nashville, in Middle Tennessee, where I'm from, and his house, him and his family's house, got shot up one night at like 2 a.m. after, in the midst of all that Tennessee 3 stuff that went on with the Democratic Congress people getting silenced and all that, and he was covering all that at the time. And in the middle of all that, his house got shot up, and I remember him talking to me about it and everything. And we were considering maybe moving back to Tennessee when that happened and everything. And that freaked me out, and it's like, that wasn't even really a story that got picked up. And you said this, like, people heard about it, but it wasn't a big story. And it's like, I mean, to be fair, children get shot in this country all the time. So, like, just guns being shot that don't hit other humans even It's like, well, where are you going to slide that into the news cycle? You know what I mean? It doesn't rise to the level of being covered, I guess, because that's how prevalent gun violence has gotten, which is, of course, insane. But when it's politically motivated like this, you would like to think it would be different, and more people would care and would point out, like, hey, this is bad. This is what we're worried about happening. It's starting to happen. Can we try to, pump the brakes on some of this rhetoric or whatever? But of course, like you said, I mean, they would be like, yeah, well, you should pump the brakes on there. It's the Democratic rhetoric that's causing this type of stuff to happen. That's what's, that's what's really at the root of the insanity. But I don't know, man. I'm just like, trying not to think too much about it because it does freak me out. Because knowing how many guns are in this country and how many lunatics, it's like, it's almost kind of surprising that things like this don't happen more often, really.
That's true. By the way, I had not known that about the shooting at the guy behind the Tennessee Holler. And honestly, I think it was the Tennessee 3 reporting on that I think that's where I first was familiar with Tennessee Holler, and that's where a lot of people learned about that story. So terrible that just doing honest reporting would lead to you being targeted in this way. But that's part of the shift that we've seen in our country, where there's just a lot of people that feel like, no, we're not interested in having a disagreement. We're not interested in trying to persuade people and seeing who wins. If you disagree with me, I want you to literally die. But well, thankfully they caught the guy. Personally think that, I don't know. I feel like after you purchase your second 100,000 bullets, they should be keeping track, I guess. Like, does the guy own a gun range? What could he possibly need all that for? How did he get a grenade launcher? What was he planning to do with it? Again, super worrying. Also, there's sort of an element of like the conspiracy theory with the vote machines going on. So Democrat rhetoric causes all of this, but the deep state swaps it. So we do the rhetoric and then Republicans go out and try to shoot people. It's weird how that works.
Right.
I don't know why. Why do they pay so much attention to what we say and then go to try to shoot people? It's weird.
Yeah. Well, I know this guy's in Arizona, right? He's in Arizona. Well, maybe he's just stocking up for when the graboids from Tremors emerge again. You know what I mean? Maybe
I did like that character with the arsenal.
Burt, Burt Gummer,
Burt Gummer's great.
Big Tremors fan over here, so yeah.
Oh, I'm a massive Tremors fan. I love those movies.
Maybe he just idolizes Burt. No, he's a dangerous lunatic who should be in jail. Anyway, go ahead.
I read an op-ed that traced a little bit of people's mythologizing about protecting your home by having an arsenal of guns to that character in that scene.
Oh, well, that scene
made it seem cool,
Oh yeah, dude, that scene, you broke into the wrong damn rec room, didn't you, you bastard? Like, that is arguably the best scene in the movie, and it's like it makes you, you hear eagles crying when it's very American, and it makes you. I could see that being the case. It makes you want to have an arsenal and a panic room in your basement in case, mutated sandworms ever attack you and your family or whatever. But
it's the ultimate fantasy too, because the thing just busts in the wall.
Right.
Doesn't really do much.
No,
and
just
you
sits
just get
there.
to go to town on it with every gun you got. Yeah, it's very video gamey.